Hello, I've drawn up some janky pictures that I hope you will enjoy, find informative. So anyway, let's get into the main idea, of which there are a couple of ideas that relate. First, we see this image here, we probably all recognize this, is the human head, the upper body and lower body, and the limbs are kind of exist there, but they don't really matter for this picture. The lower body, we have this center here around the genitals, kind of the lower belly, the genital region, bladder, etc. And it has the word animal soul. Now, this is the best word I could come up with it for this. If you've got a better one, then feel free to share it down below. But basically, this is the spiritual center. It's a big spiritual center made up of all the organs here, the guts, the bladder, the genitals, the bowels, etc., etc. That is pretty much your animal soul, the thing that keeps you alive. You can also extend it almost to some extent, or you could have a new center in the belly, so you could also have one there if you want. Pretty much the life, the living center. If you chop this off, and some people actually do have this part of their body chopped off, it's not a nice life. You could only really exist because of medical machinery. So anyway, if the next part is the soul. Now there is some debate whether the soul is in the head or the spirit is in here. Honestly, it doesn't matter because we're debating about words. The reality is there is a spiritual center within the heart area. This one's drawn oh no, it's alright, fine. It's pretty much, it encompasses the whole area here, the whole chest region. Similar, this is the whole pelvis and lower kind of body region, you think. So these entire regions, they encompass. This I think of as the soul. They call it sometimes the lower mind, it's a middle down tien. Chances are we all know about this. Now the interesting thing is that this is legitimately where the soul is. Similarly, this is where the spirit is. And now I'm using the spirit for the mind. For me, this kind of helps. So within the brain region, you have a spiritual center, which is your spirit, which processes sensory data, etc., etc. Now, I think when we talk about, your soul, your spirit, and it going on beyond lifetimes, I believe this is the actual places where these things are. And I think that you probably keep these things into the next life. So, it's kind of like you're cultivating these centers through spiritual development, just through life in general, and you will continually have the same three centers. Now, your body might be a little bit smaller or larger or something like that, and they'll of course change as time goes on. But what I think is that if reincarnation exists, then yes, you will continue. These are the actual locations of them. At least for a human, maybe you get made into some kind of weird alien thing, but you're still going to have the main idea of these kind of centers, and one's going to be maybe more pronounced, maybe a giant head or something. But yeah, so hopefully you get that idea of like these are the actual locations, spiritual locations of where these things actually are. The idea of the spirit, the soul, and the animal soul. Next, we have an organ here. I guess this could be a heart. And it has an energy aura. Now, excuse that it doesn't look all nice and kind of energy-like, because I didn't use a touchpad. I used a mouse, which has one opacity. So, anyway, this is the energy aura, and this is the organ. So we have physical thing like heart, here, physical organ, and an energy aura that it radiates. It also has an energy aura inside of it. As you can see, the whole thing is colored. It's not just that it has, it's not just that it looks like this, where it doesn't have the energy within it. All things radiate within the ether, and I will have a video about that later, trying to explain more about the ether and how objects radiate and all that interesting stuff. But basically know that there is a energy aura within that space. So that's how this stuff works, is that organs combine And maybe you got your bladder. Oops. You got your bladder. Oh, jeez. Excuse me, my mouse is being a little bit laggy. You got your bladder, you got your genitals, you got your guts, more organs, and they all form one spiritual area combining together. They may be different organs, they combine. It's just like your computer is made up of a CPU, a GPU, a hard drive, RAM, and a power supply usually. Maybe some other things, some extensions, but they combine to form one unit. That's what a body is like. Now you see the body is chopped in half. A little bit gruesome, but you know, yeah, it is what it is. This one's chopped in half the other way, like this, that way. You see there's some legs, so it's kind of like the person's looking down, except maybe they're a ghost looking down. Their guts. And you see you have this region here. This, oops, trying to wrangle this. Here we go. So you've got this region of space. Now this is not anatomically perfect, but it will explain what I'm trying to get into. You've got a region of space there. Similarly, you've got the same region of space, you know, going across the whole body. If you can see that, and you've got the organs in the middle, so you've got the guts in the middle there. The idea of this is that you have an internal area, which is negative, and then you have a external area, which is positive. Okay? Now, the organs are the internal spiritual physical centers. As we showed here, they are not the energy center. They are the physical center. The energy center is it corresponds with each organ, each gland, each bone, each everything. As I said, if you put a physical object in the ether, this circle is a physical object in the ether. It instantly radiates depending on its properties and qualities. Everything radiates spiritually. And again, I'll explain this in another video. If you don't believe me, go outside and look at the trees with like, kind of relax your eyes and look at the trees during daytime, and you will see there's like an aura around them. Living things especially radiate a big aura, but inanimate objects have their own aura. Everything irradiates temperatures, so to speak. So again, we have the internal area, which is a spiritual cultivation center. If you were to gather energy, you breathe in energy, you pull it in through your whole body, you gather it into the belly. The belly is the center between the bladder and the heart, which is the kind of neutral energetic center. It's also got the kidneys in the back, kind of right here. Trust me, I'm trying to navigate this mouse as good as possible, but it's just one of those tech days. Anyway, so you pull in energy to the organs, but then what happens? As I've explained in some other videos, then you start to circulate it through the body. You start to, through the channels, the arms and legs, the whole body, etc., etc. If you look up a 12 meridian chart, specifically the 12 meridians, each meridian is essentially a muscular tendon that runs through, it's a kinetic channel that runs through your muscles. Muscles are connected. The heart channel, for example, let me try to draw that. I think it goes through the little finger. So pretty much through your lower forearm muscles, through your tricep to the pec, tricep, lower forearm, hand muscles. I don't know what they're called. It's everything. These are connected by tendons, and as basically think of a string running through the whole thing, and then it connects to the heart energetically. That's why if someone does a bench press ridiculously heavy, they can blow out their bicep or their pec. it actually get from this area. It can blow these areas out. It also does run through. It's connected to the bicep and all, but it kind of depends on what you put the weight on. But yeah, you have these channels, and kinetically, that's how you take damage. Take kinetic damage through a channel. That's why you can feel tired in a completely different area, or sore in a completely different area, even though you didn't use that muscle. It's kinetically linked. So what we do is we gather energy into middle center, lower center, middle center, upper center, or just the belly. Think of the belly as just the big kind of, I call it the cauldron, and then you express it outwards, out into these white areas here. Now these outer areas are the areas that you use functionally in your life. I started noticing that my vision was not so good. So what I did is I gathered energy in my head. And then when I felt I had enough, I started to push it out through the whole head. And now my vision is better because of that. And my eyes don't get as sore. So if you continuously keep that energy out there, you keep expressing it out. Similarly, if you gather too much in the internal area, you'll kind of bloat and you'll feel like too much pressure there. That's if you get good at gathering a lot of energy. So you got to express it out through the limbs, through the whole limbs, through the legs, and through the external, the muscle. This is actually the muscle and the flesh. Flesh is like this skin. You got this area is kind of flesh, which is like fat and like thick skin, and then you got muscle, which is just this area here. So this whole area, the flesh and muscle, is where you're trying to kind of get this out to. You can just run it through the whole body, so through your bones and through everything. But yeah, if you look up a 12 meridian chart, that will show you the muscular, I'm pretty sure it's the muscular tendon, kind of tendon lines or connections. That's what I found at least. So start passing through that whole thing. You don't have to learn the meridians, they're very complicated, but you just kind of have to learn to like take it out, express it out. The external place of the body is the place that resists temperature, it resists sound, it resists pressure and pain, everything from the external world. It is how you get better at the external world. This is internal cultivation, this is gathering energy, gathering better internal world. But you eventually need to take it to the outer world. You're going to craft the world to how you want. To do that, you need a strong body. So the external place, the body, we can think, is the carrier, is the container. It's like a bottle. This is like a bottle, right? You got a little cork, which I guess is here. This is a bottle which holds the energy, which is like a liquid. You see the liquid's kind of steaming or whatever, it's cooking inside, and you are using the inside. You're cooking a good soup, right? And you're kind of expressing it out through the body, through the flesh and the muscle, and that will make you better at just doing things in general. Anyway, so I think that about sums it up. The three centers are essentially spirit, soul, animal soul. These, I imagine, if reincarnation is real, you will continue. These will form some kind of ghost, which will go into the next life. Already, I guess, if we're going to talk about like the astral, the etheric body, and then to talk about the internal organs, which is the cultivation area, and then the external body, which is where you want to go out, and also about the idea of organs having the aura. Anyway, that's everything for today, so I hope you have a nice day, and of course, before I finish, if you want to leave comments or email me, my email's down below. I check it about every Monday. BitChute comments, as I said, don't pop up, so I try to check them, but I don't get notified. And of course, if you want anything commercial, any books, any services, check out my Gumroad and my Fiverr down below. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope you learned some good stuff.